somewhere through some convoluted theory, there was this idea that the government owned your kids. It takes a village was a rather popular and incredibly misleading concept. It said that it takes all of us to work together to, what, help out? Well, no, but to what? Own kids? Oh, no. There's something called in loco parentis. In loco parentis is where the state sometimes or the school acts in the place of a parent in terms of being granted certain limited rights and the like. But the government does not own your children. The government has no place in running your children's lives. It is there to protect. As a prosecutor, as a young prosecutor, the area that got me, that concerned me the most was what was referred to then as juvenile. And juvenile court, which was circuit court, which handled felonies, but it handled delinquencies, which are crimes which, if committed by an adult, would be called a crime, a misdemeanor or felony, but they're called a delinquent acts if it's committed by a juvenile. But also there was a thing called dependency, where the state steps in because the child is dependent on the state because of abandonment, abuse, or neglect. And even then I would think, wow, and I saw this coming 40 years ago. And I saw the wave coming where the government had more and more control over children and losing this thing called parental autonomy, parental primacy, where you are the boss. And we saw it years ago when they had things like, it was wonderful. One of them was this idea of, well, it's the number one story, the number one issue of people go crazy, but that's spanking. Can a parent spank their child? What is legal? Call a police officer, say, tell me, what is it? When is spanking? Tell me what I can do legally where I do not risk a prosecutor coming after me or whatever. Tell me what I can do. Give me the rules of spanking. They can't tell you. But they can tell you when it's excessive, when it's punching and there's bruises and broken bones and things like that. Well, that's excessive, obviously. But even this notion where kids would pick up the phone and start to call the cops, are still doing it. This has been going on for a long time, where they had the idea that you as a parent, you can't, I've got rights. You can't do that to me. Oh, yes, I can. Oh, yes, I can. No, you can't. Oh, yes, I can. Well, that started then. Then, after that came the notion of dependency. And it always worked like this. There would be some overworked, recent graduate, unmarried, no kids, some 20-something, idealistic, overworked, underpaid CPS investigator goes somewhere, sees something that is considered not okay. Kids are maybe truants, or maybe the kids aren't going to, whatever. And they go in and they talk to mom. And they tell mom that mom is under investigation for abuse, neglect, or abandonment, and she has to comply with certain things. Now, there are some folks, I will tell you, in the world who do not understand rules, schedules, responsibility. They're good parents, but they're terrible administrators. And they'll miss an appointment with this therapist. And they won't call. And the next thing you know, we have a hearing. We have a violation hearing. And then we go before a judge, and the judge says, now listen, you have been ordered by the court while your children sometimes are either, depending upon the severity of the initial case, maybe a child is placed with a grandparent or a loved one or somebody close. And then maybe the might be a foster care. But you, Mrs. Parent, you have been violated. Well, you've got to show good cause why. Anyway, make a long story short, the parent says, I'm sorry, we'll do it. And they slack off because maybe they're uneducated, or maybe schedule keeping is not their their forte, and it's just slides into oblivion. Sometimes it goes up to and including full termination of parental rights, TPR. Sometimes the kids have been out of the home for so long, the kid doesn't even remember the parents. And the foster care parent is so terrific and so nice and so much fun. And they're educated and rich and they've got money. The kid says, I don't want to go back home. I don't even remember these people. I like these folks. They used to horrify me. It's like, wait a minute. Separating a parent from their child should be like amputation. It should be the last train to Clarksville. No, the last available sanction, function, whatever you want to call it. I saw it repeatedly, and we're doing it right now. There's been references, Kamala Harris mentioned. I told you Hillary Clinton in the old days. It takes a village. And you're seeing it more and more about when a child, and this is the issue, when a child goes to a teacher or a counselor and says, maybe elicits, maybe suggests something as far as incredulity or questioning as to gender or what have you, how much can that teacher do to remove the child from the family, remove the child from the home, and maybe pursue some type of therapy, surgery? Who knows? We're also going to see more and more of kids who are telling teachers or telling people that my parents do not understand me and my thoughts regarding gender. And I'm not going to get into the aspects of whether it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you this scenario will happen. There will be a rewriting of the rules where normally 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, they would have said, well, listen, you're not old enough yet. We'll worry about that later. But now it's a different story. So when does a parent's recalcitrance or refusal or reluctance to give in or to acknowledge the child's particular thoughts or confusion as to gender and the like, when does that traverse that which is normal? When does that go beyond the accepted? When is parental primacy or autonomy violated, or not violated, but overruled by something bigger? The individual rights of the child, the individual thoughts of the child, the individual incredulity, confusion, indecision, questioning, or bona fide desire to change that which many people consider to be immutable. Who is the boss? How is that going to play out? At what age does a child have the mental requisites, the experience, the maturity to make an intelligent and knowing, in essence, waiver? Now, this is also complicated because there has been a series of cases where parents have, in some cases, said, no, we don't want the child to receive any kind of medical attention for such and such because of our faith. Maybe the Christian Sciences or maybe whatever. So this has been done. It's not a case of first impression, but it is in a way. The question is, you're going to start hearing this idea. And I submit to you, in my humble opinion, that the government does not have the right to your children. Children are not pawns. They're not chattel. Their feelings, their emotions, their physical well-being, their spiritual up, all of this is valid to be taken into consideration. But there comes a point where there must be a presumption of correctness on the part of the parent. And that's the thing which is important. And that is going to be a great subject of debate. I am telling you, don't think this isn't big. This is huge, and it will pit political parties, political ideologies against each other. This is fundamental, and it needs a thorough and an exacting vetting and fleshing out of the issues, as it were. So please, I want to hear what you think about this. What are the concerns that bother you? What are some of the aspects of this that you want to have addressed, that you think need to be reviewed? And I would so much appreciate if you would like this video, subscribe to our humble channel, and to be notified of new videos and live videos and the like. So please remember, and I ask, beseech, importune, and entreat you to comment as you see fit.